every
Also
Tuesday.
That's the whole point of the training.
Okay, we got
Is that you train the authorized.
Do you
So that
know
there is,
the issue?
is it called Regional Director of the Bureau of Internal...
Mamina, good morning once again, and welcome to 888 News Forum, to our televiewers, and your opening statement, Mamina. You have the floor.
Good morning, everyone. I'm very happy to be here again. I was talking to Donnie last night, and I said, Donnie, what are you doing tomorrow? And she said, I'm going to 888. Oh, I said, how interesting. So I said, I'll join you, and here I am. Thank you very much. I was here about 2 months ago, and we had a very good presentation, and people were very actively involved in asking questions. Today, we are very happy to tell you that tomorrow is the opening of the 6th Philippine Farm Tourism Conference. And we are doubly happy because there's so many things happening tomorrow.
I see.
Yeah.
Where is the venue, Mamina?
Right here in the hotel, Marco Polo. And we have, for example, tomorrow there will be a conference that will be from the 6th to the 7th. And then on the 8th, we are moving out of Cebu to go to the farms,
I see.
to see your farms.
Okay, what particular part? In the city or in the province?
No, in the city.
In the city. Okay.
So we're going to Adlawan Farm, and then we're going to see the Sirao,
Sirao.
the flower farm, and then we're also going to Mr. Chua's orchid farm, and from there I think we are going into a vantage point to see the whole view of Cebu City.
I see. Okay, Ma'am Donnie, Ma'am Mina, particularly, what's the update now of the Farm Tourism Act of 2016?
Okay. That is known as Republic Act 10816. It is an act to develop farm tourism in the country. And just recently, the Department of Tourism has come out with some materials that will lead towards an IRR, the implementing rules and regulations. Yes.
Okay.
And what is important is that there are now several, no, just for example in our school alone, we have already graduated almost 600 farm owners and would-be farm owners to put up their farms, and that's a big number considerably since we have started only in 2017.
Okay.
So that's about 2 years, and the demand for farm tourism has been increasing. The second one is the benefits that can be derived from farm tourism is actually very strong.
Okay.
So they are actually now looking at support not only from the vantage point of funding, but support from other agencies. No?
Okay.
Like for example, DOST is very actively involved. In fact, 2 days ago, we just finished a whole course for DOST clients. What they did in the past, DOST used to help individuals to develop modalities and technologies, no? But they found if they help an individual, if that individual all of a sudden decides he's no longer interested, their assistance has gone haywire. So they found that the best way to actually help now is through farm tourism, because there are more people that will benefit. So DOST has now channeled their assistance for technologies and modalities, you know. Like for example, they're introducing DAC, ano bang, Itik Pinas.
Itik, okay.
Itik Pinas. They have developed this kind of itik that can withstand weather changes, and it can be both on land and water.
Climate resilient.
Oh, climate resilient. So, before, they used to give it for individuals, and pag nawala na ng gana, tapos na, no?
I see.
But now, they found that more people are exposed to the modalities. So the encouragement is greater than before.
Are they part of the Farm Tourism Development Board, the DOST, or
I'm not sure now, but I know that major agencies are part of
yeah,
it.
Department of Agriculture is
Yes,
part
of
of
course,
the
agriculture
yeah.
is a part, no? But there are many other agencies like, the financing group, no? The government financial institutions, Land Bank, the what do you call this, the one from DTI, and then you have DBP. So many of the government fundings are related. Then you also have DNR.
Okay. Now, under the law, Mamina, what are the incentives that a private sector
Plenty.
will get from the government? Something like that.
We were involved in the crafting of the bill.
I see.
So we put all the benefits that possibly can be taken in by an institution. So there is loan portfolios, financing portfolios. You have investment programs. You have training programs. You have human resource development program. You have marketing and promotion.
How about tax incentives?
Tax incentive is included in
I
the
see.
financial package. Yeah.
Okay. So if you import some, let's say, inputs and farm inputs and implements, so
Yeah.
under that law,
Yes,
the
yes.
private sector is exempt. It's an exemption.
Yes, but what is beautiful here is that in farm tourism, many of the farm implements are actually built already in the Philippines.
I see.
Yeah, so I think many of those who are going to benefit are actually also the Filipinos.
I see.
Yung mga shredders, yung mga extraction machines, yung mga ganyan, they're all made here already and very good.
I see.
Yeah. So for tomorrow, we have the exhibition portion. There will be people who will be showing some of their food products, coming all the way from Norte, Ilocos Norte, and then you have also coming from Mindanao.
Okay.
So people are bringing some of their products. That is actually one of the advantages of farm tourism, because never before have you seen a lot of food products developed and processed, than we have today.
I see.
And then the third one is, of course, the farm tour, which I was telling you. And that's something that people look forward. That's why they attend the provincial sojourn of the conferences. Because they are, like last time we were in Iloilo, they were exposed to the Iloilo style of farming methods, no? And now we will be in Cebu, which I think is more geared towards flower farms.
Why is it that our country is not more of propagating or enhancing the cultivation of bee farm? Because in the US, bee farm is so great and it's a big business.
Yeah. It is encouraged in every farm tourism. Bee farming is encouraged. If they are taking the course, one important aspect of the course is that everyone is encouraged to have a bee farm within their farm tourism.
I see.
Because that will develop their other products. Because of the pollination.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Most of the products actually become more healthy and they flower more, they give better produce, and bee farming is very good as a substitute, as a sub program of farm tourism.
Yeah, I learned and I know that beehive is so expensive, and one municipality in Davao, I think in Panabo, they are
Yeah.
propagating and they are encouraging and selling beehive, and even Bohol, the bee farm in Bohol is buying beehive from Panabo.
Yes.
And when they introduced that in Mantalongon, Dalaget, it did not prosper because of the massive use of pesticides and chemicals in the agriculture sector industry in that municipality.
Yeah. Actually, that is one of the things that will be discussed. Remember, the theme of the Farm Tourism Conference tomorrow is developing community relationships for sustainable development. We're not going to talk per se about the farm, but we're going to talk about what the community can do to develop a successful farm tourism in the area.
I see.
Because you cannot put the beehives in a farm tourism the bees actually have to travel a certain radius outside of their hives.
Yeah.
And if they are in contact with anything that's chemical, they're going to die. And they bring it back to the queen bee
Yeah.
and everybody dies. That's what happened to Pampanga. You know, the Pampanga Agricultural School, State University, had a very successful bee program. And one day, they just discovered that someone had chemical fertilizers being done, and they were able to bring this back to the queen bee, and everybody, all the bees died. You know, so it's important that the community knows about it, because the community can develop the bees if there is no presence of chemical.
Okay, yeah, and one of the success bee farms in the region is that in Bohol.
Yes, Bohol Bee.
Bohol Bee Farm, they have a lot of already a lot of outlets coming from their Bohol Bee Farm. I mean, the products is being sold in the coffee shop, and it's all organic.
Yeah.
And
That what is important maybe in farm tourism is that once you get into the business, the most important part is the community program. Everybody in the community actually benefits.
I see.
One, job opportunities. Because the moment they open the farm tourism, more people are needed.
Okay.
You know, it's not just the usual farm hands, no? The second, the farmers are given better benefits. Right now, the biggest problem of farm tourism is that there are not enough farmers. Because there was a time when the farmers were not earning, so they all left. They became carpenters, masons, plumbers, and now we're bringing them back, you know, and giving them higher salaries.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we are training young farmers.
Correct. And then the second one is one of the things that is important probably is the fact that the produce in the community, they become major suppliers of a farm tourism.
Okay.
You know, I mean, very good examples are in Zambales, in other places where outside in the community they found people that are actually doing good red egg production, native chicken.
Okay.
You know, so all of this can be a big help to the community if they become suppliers to a farm.
Okay. If I remember right, Mina, there is a certain institution in Argao that trained young farmers, no? It is run by a former director of the Technical Education Skills and Development Authority, Mr. Maranga, the former regional director. And now it's ongoing with the funding from TESDA, and all those young farmers that will graduate in that particular institution have an equivalent of NC2 certificate. So I think one of the success stories also of if you talk about programs or young farmers to be institutionalized in the farming industry or farming sector.
Yes. I guess the development and upgrading of skills of the farmers is one benefit, because there are so many technologies now that are being taught that before was not present. And but what is interesting here is that people think that if we have more equipment, it's better. But in farm tourism, we found out that there's no exchange for actually the manual tilling of the soil. It is more, it's better, and you get better produce. And the old technique is still being taught everywhere.
Okay, how would you connect farm tourism and the former Green Revolution?
Well, the Green Revolution, what happened to the Green Revolution, they went into gardening, right? They expanded into the cities and gardening.
Okay.
In farm tourism, it's actually converting idle lands and converting pieces of land into productive farm produce, no, very specific farm produce. But today, it's also getting into the city. We just graduated the first urban farm tourism graduates of Parañaque.
I see.
So the cities can actually become farm tourism sites. Yes. And by clustering 5 or 6 barangays together, you can actually produce a quantity of vegetables or whatever produce.
Okay.
So now, tomorrow, we are featuring the group that won the best presentation from Parañaque. It's called Farm by the Riles. Because there are 5 barangays are across, beside the train.
Along the Riles.
Along the Riles, no? And they actually beautifully landscape the area to have an edible landscape, no? And they're going to show tomorrow how they're doing it.
I see.
Yeah.
If I remember also, there was a program of the former mayor being an agriculture graduate. Instead, in order to decongest our market or public markets for those households to convert their small lots in front of their house or whatever ornamental plants in their backyard to plant vegetables. You have the all kinds of vegetables for that matter. So his term is urban gardening.
Yeah.
So he gave his instruction to his agriculture head in the city, but nothing happens. I think if that will be implemented, it's a good idea in order to decongest our public markets. If you go to Carbon, you don't have to buy your sili, you just pick up in your pot, and then you have the sili already. You have the kamatis in your pot, you don't have to go to Carbon or to any other public market.
The reason why we are actually pushing for urban farm tourism or urban gardening is because the trend worldwide today is to have as fresh as possible the produce that is put on the table.
I see.
So it has to come from a certain radius to be considered fresh.
I see.
Nung araw kasi, it can, like for example in Manila, it has to come all the way from up in Benguet to be able to have good produce. Do you know that in Quezon City today, they're already producing everything that is produced upland.
Correct.
From strawberries to the broccoli to the all of the produce that is cauliflowers, all that is produced upland is already produced here. They have conquered the soil to be able to produce in the lowland.
That's good. So, how about if talking of farm tourism is not more of food sustainability?
It is.
It is.
It is food security.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's part of the food security.
Tomorrow, our keynote address is, of course, former President Gloria Arroyo, who loves Cebu very much. Every time I talk to her, she talks about Cebu, She will be here. But she's being invited because her first House bill enactment when she became president was the Ecological Solid Waste Management.
Yes.
Which
RA
is
9009.
9003.
9003.
Yes.
Correct.
And that House bill is actually considered now as the mother of urban gardening.
I see.
Because everything that is taught there is actually about waste recycling, kitchen waste recycling. And if we recycle the kitchen waste, that will actually bring you the cheaper fertilizer for your urban gardening. So she's going to talk about what has happened in Pampanga, what they have developed, and then one of the other areas that we are very excited tomorrow is our third Lakbay Bukid Award, which has now been elevated to include Asia, which is almost like the Ramon Magsaysay
I see.
for farm tourism. So we will have the first awardee from Asia.
I see.
So I hope you guys can be there on Tuesday. Senator Villar is coming, who herself is the first Lakbay Bukid awardee.
Being the chair of the Senate
authoring-
Agriculture.
And to author the 10816.
I see.
Yeah. So we have so much to showcase. A lot of great speakers that will teach us about climate change mitigation, how the community can mitigate climate change. So they're teaching also the conservation of our biodiversity that is needed within the community.
Okay.
And then we have how do you mitigate disasters,
Okay.
will also be discussed.
I see. There was a program, a sort of a moratorium coming from the Department of Agriculture on food security issue that they won't allow conversion of any agricultural lands in the country to any other lawful purposes. But since the farmers, as we have said, that farm inputs and implements are so expensive nowadays, they could not and you could not prevent lot owners to have a conversion of their agri lands into other lawful purposes. That's the reason why you can see a lot of farms, rice fields in the southern part, in the southern corridors of Cebu, are now being converted into a simple subdivision, into a sari-sari store or residential lots. Used to be a rice field. You can see in Karkar, you can see that in Argao. So the moratorium issued by the Department of Agriculture was not being followed.
But it should be.
It should be, but yeah.
I think
It has something to do with the local government units also by giving an approval or an imprimatur of the conversion of a particular agri-lots.
you know what I noticed is that many of the times the problem is communication and awareness, because there are so many agencies in government that are actually providing now implements. You know, like for example, our school is in Silang. You know, I just went to the municipal agriculture office and they have machines, tilling machines, that you can just borrow and return to them after you finish. And it's available.
I see.
And if you request for seeds, they have them available. If you request for shredders, they have them available. I think what is needed is dissemination and awareness, because even the OST now is actually giving out equipment. So maybe that is what is needed to disseminate all this information. And hopefully our Farm Tourism Conference, because of we will have the OST tomorrow, and we want them to really spell out everything that they're giving for assistance. We will have DA, we will have all the major government agencies, but most of all, we have the private sector that is already successful in their businesses,
I see.
that will share with us how to be able to also get your farm started and become successful in the process.
Okay. Ma'am Mina, the DOST secretary, if I am still correct, the present DOST secretary, in one of the forums here, in one of the fora here, he talked about the propagation of breadfruit, and that is a good subsidy, a good substitute of our rice, no? And he is so fascinated with the breadfruit that I think it's in Siquijor, there are a lot of breadfruit, and they want to propagate here in Cebu. And in fact, he is inviting a lot of private sector to invest on the propagation of the breadfruit tree, with the funding coming from the OST. I hope you could include that, because if talking of breadfruit, very famous in Latin America, and they are exporting it to the USA. It's a big business in all Latin American countries.
Yeah, I believe in that. But I also believe in the Cebuano tradition of the corn grits. When I was young, I used to remember that whenever my mom would do corn grits, we loved it, you know. I mean, we used to mix it with rice. We used to. That's another thing that maybe it's about time we look for substitutes, no, and get involved with those things. Also, what is needed again is awareness, because people don't know how to handle things. If you are in Luzon, where everyone is actually exposed only to rice, you know, I mean, it's so difficult for their mindset to change into something else. What is needed is to show how it is done. You know, if we tell them breadfruit, that will go from here to here. But there's got to be a showcase on television, on radio, how to use it, how to do it, how to grow it. Because we might encourage people and there are enough breadfruit, you know. So maybe the production, the how to must all get together, isn't it? Huh?
Yeah. In fact, DOST made a presentation here.
Yeah.
All big hotels in the US, in Europe, are using the products coming from the breadfruit. Okay? And likewise, Mamina, what's the participation of the LGU as far as the implementation of the law is concerned?
Yeah. That's a very good question. Because the local government unit is actually the heart of farm tourism in every level, from the urban farm tourism to the farm tourism in the provinces, in the communities. They have a role to play. And the role to play of the LGU is one, to make it easy for people who want to go into farm tourism to get into business. So yung ease of doing business must be present
I see.
in the LGU. So that, kasi pag farmers, sabihin mo mag-register sa ganyan, the moment they have a hassle, back out na yan. No?
It's good that we already increased our
Yes.
notches as far as ranking is concerned.
Correct. Oo. So, but that is one very important effort to make it easy and to make it more approachable. Yun bang hindi ka matatakot, no? And so that is a very major role. The second role of the LGU is making sure that the farm to market roads are accessible.
Yeah. So infrastructure is there.
Yes.
Okay. It's
very
not
important.
because of the presence of the legislators that he could only build farm to pocket roads. I mean, farm to market roads, not farm to pocket roads.
Yeah. Ikaw talaga. But the LGU also has a role to play in awareness and marketing and promotion. Because my feeling is that nobody else can market your place better than the LGUs in the area.
Correct.
And one of the things that I like very much, and I'd like to zero in on Governor Arthur Yap. He is sending almost all of his mayors to come tomorrow. You know, to me, if you have a governor that believes in the farm tourism, you should encourage them. This is the right way to do it. You know. Cebu, we have quite a number coming in because we have widely disseminated, and of course, I said if you are in Cebu, you should really just walk here and listen to all the presentations, di ba?
I'll be there, Mamina. No? I'll listen to you.
Okay. No, but you are invited to come tomorrow and join us and see how, you know, the whole presentation will be coming. So we have the farm tour, we have the Lakbay Bukid Award, which is very inspirational to see that we were only able to choose 4 for this year. It was a very stiff competition. There were 20 nominations from the provinces that came in.
I see.
But 4 were chosen and 1 from Asia. For the first time, we have 1 from Asia. So this is now open Asia-wide. Yeah.
Okay. Do we have some international linkages, Mamina, as far as farm tourism sector is concerned? Let's say a lot of UN governing bodies. You have the international organization that deals with the climate change. You have
Right.
international organization that deals with mountains. How about on tourism business?
Yes. On farm tourism, we have Julian Gonsalves tomorrow from the International Institute of Rural Reconstruction.
I
He's from
see.
India, UN. And he will be speaking on
I see.
precisely in what you said, climate change.
Okay.
And he's a great speaker. I love him. Every time I invite him, I listen because he's very good, very simple, understandable. You know exactly what to do. You know. And then we have people from Thailand that will speak on their experiences. So it's nice to hear also what they have, and also we have from India. You know.
So we have, I think in some other countries, they created or they made a garden city out of their urban areas. You have a garden city in Bangalore,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Where the famous GMR
Yeah.
office is located. They have a famous garden in Chiang Mai in Thailand,
Yeah.
or the famous Royal Elephant is also there. So I think Cebu should have also one.
Busay.
Busay,
You have the
yeah.
a lot of flower farms there.
You have them there in Mantalongon, Dalaget.
Yeah.
Okay?
But what is interesting today is that more and more people are conscious about being healthy. You know, before when you used to have conferences and you have you ask them for their comments after the end of the conference, they will tell you, ay, sana there were more pork or adobo or some things like that. Now, iba eh. After the conference now, iba na, can you have more greens? Can you have more...
Some leafy vegetables?
And then, at saka yung juice, they ask for, wala pa tayong native juices, you know? Nakakagulat eh, you know? So, people are changing, you know, and I think it's...
I think the lifestyle.
Yeah, lifestyle is changing.
Okay. So great. Thank you very much, Ma'am Mina. Okay, we'll entertain some more questions from Ma'am Elena.
Elena, Google writer, Ma'am Mina.
Yes.
I was involved, I think more than 10 years ago with tourism here in Cebu during the time of former Secretary Ace Durano.
Yes.
And my ex-boss, Jenny Franco, was really involved in tourism with Madam Donnie Roa.
Of course.
And I was her assistant, so I was privileged to know about the tourism activities here in Cebu. And it made me very happy about, listening to you about farm tourism, because my family owned many farmlands, like we even have a fish farm, goat farm, and Kalipaan farm. But it has not grown any bigger because first, the young ones are not interested into farming. And it is the first time that I knew that there is a government system.
Yes.
Like they're being taught
Yeah.
how to farm. And also, I'm not sure if there's any accreditation
Yes.
how to get involved with this campaign.
Okay.
And I know that there's a conference tomorrow.
Yes.
And who are invited, Mamina, in this
Conference?
event? Yeah, conference.
Anybody who is interested in farm tourism can come. So we have farm owners, we have farmers themselves, we have NGOs, we have academe, we have students, we have government people that are involved in this area, and we also have restaurants and some hotels coming in because they want to know, maybe for reasons of supply, because they're really looking now for supplies because there's a demand for fresh food, no? So I think it's very interesting. You mentioned about two things that is very interesting. You said you had a fish farm,
It's actually a fishing village.
a fishing village.
Yes.
Because we are promoting Fishyalan. And it might be something that might be interested. Fishyalan. It's part of farm tourism.
Sosyalan, fishalan.
Oh, Fishyalan.
Instead of social,
Fishyalan. And it's very interesting because tomorrow on the 7th, at lunchtime, the BIFAR is going to present, and they will present the Fishyalan program that we're working with them. It's nice because now we're tying up with government and we're pushing, we're giving them inputs on what is needed by private sector, so that what they develop is something we need, no? So they have developed these 2 fish tanks that actually can produce up to 1,500 fishes every 2 months. And if you put them in a barangay, they can actually have food security within the barangay. So if you can work that out, people now go. And when I say Fishyalan, because part of the farm tourism is actually the joy of fishing,
Yes.
Getting your own fish and then grilling it, you know, and enjoying that, and maybe doing it the Cebuano way of grilling, you know. So I think that's an aspect that could be put together in your farm. Expand that fish program. The second one is accreditation. Accreditation is lodged with DOT because of the word farm tourism. When it's just farm, it's really just DA because they take care of all the agricultural standards, they take care of all the organic and all of the, if it's naturally grown, so they take care of that. But the moment you add the word tourism, the accreditation has to come from DOT. Because once you invite people into your farm, then they already have the note of visitors, no? And visitors must be protected. So the accreditation takes the form of, for example, are your food, if you're serving food, sanitary. If, let's say, for example, you're bringing them around the farms, is it safe? Walang mahuhulog sa bangin, or, you know, or merong boulders. And then the bathrooms must be in place. If you want people to stay overnight, you know, You have your farm stays. Are they okay? Meron bang ayos ba yung tulugan? You know. So tourism gets into play when you add the word tourism into farms. So accreditation is quite easy, and it's good for 2 years. Once they accredit you, good for 2 years.
Ma'am Mina, in the year 2010, I used to apply for a funding from Netherlands to support the community fishing community tourism, something
Yes,
like
yes,
that.
yes.
But we didn't get it because the event, the activity was under a family registration of SEC, but it should be community. So how do you go about it? It's the first requirement, the legality of the
Community?
The community.
Yeah. First, there are two ways. One is you can pull them together into an association, just a simple association. Or the second one is you get into a cooperative. You set up a cooperative. So in both ways, you can get funding. But your association must be registered. Pwede na ngayon eh. You register it with SEC as long as there is a legal name and there's a specific functions and there's a determination of who can be members. That becomes already a community activity.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Madam Mina, for the enlightenment.
Yes, okay. We'll see you. Hope you attend tomorrow.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Thank you, Ma'am Elena. Ma'am Doni.
Good morning, Art. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
I just want to know po, what are the inclusions of the 7,000 registration fee for the 3-day affair in the ballroom?
Yes.
I think it's in the ballroom of Marco
Correct.
Polo, and I know you have exhibitors from all over the country for the participants to have a look and see and interact with everyone, but exactly just what
Is the
does
inclusion.
it take to pay 7,000
Okay.
participation fee that will take you for 3 days
Okay.
participation?
All right.
Thank you po.
Okay, thank you. First of all, the fee will include all the lunches and snacks, AM and PM, for the next 3 days. And then the second is that it will bring you to the farm tours. All expenses, bus, entrance fees, everything is taken care of. The third is we also will be giving out the usual kits with the materials and the certificates. And I think pretty much that includes the whole thing, you know. And of course we have one dinner that's sponsored by a SM. So that's beyond the 7, but there's a plus, you know, on one night. So that pretty much takes care of that.
It's not expensive if those are the inclusions.
Yes.
Not expensive, actually, Ma'am
Yeah.
Doni. For the next 3 days.
Yeah. Actually, we, as an NGO, we're not allowed to make profits. So the quotations we have is just enough to cover almost all of the expenses and a little bit just in case there's a miscellaneous expense that might crop up that we don't know. So it's really that. So we depend a lot on good Samaritans like SM that will give us an extra dinner to have some extra activities. And then of course the mayor of the city of Cebu will also giving us a free presentation during lunchtime. I think they're inviting the Sinulog team.
I see.
So that the rest of the other members coming from other parts of the country can have
Already a concept of what is
what's
Sinulog all about.
Yes, yes. And then of course, you know, we have the Lakbay Bukid awarding ceremony that
Okay.
will be happening.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, Ma'am Mina, is it already operational as far as the farm strategic, farm tourism strategic action plan?
Wala pa.
Wala pa.
Wala pa.
So the IRR is not yet being signed?
Na-sign na. There was already a gathering to take a look at that. But there were some suggestions from the floor that the Tourism Development Board that will be appointed will have to look into.
I see.
So hopefully, they said before the end of November, they will already announce the tourism. For as long as there's no Tourism Development Board, nothing moves yet.
I see.
So I hope they will be able to appoint already.
Okay. You talk about fish lalan with the participation and with the participation and coordination of the BFAR from the DOT. How about the ship deck? Are you not involving the ship deck?
Oh, they are.
Okay.
In fact, when we were in Iloilo for the 6th farm tourism, they had a very major role.
Okay. Great.
So most of the attendees, in fact, it's funny that many of those attending the farm tourism have been attending most of the farm tourism conferences in other parts. I think when we started bringing out the conference to other places, people liked it because there are specialties in every area that is not found in their places. Like, for example, Sip Deck in Iloilo.
Yeah.
That was really something new to them. And that's where Fishalan started.
I see.
The concept of Fishalan started. And then now in Cebu, I noticed that there are more flower farms than any other places that we have visited. So again, that's something different
I
that
see.
they're going to see. No? And when we were in Camarines Norte, of course, the piña, the pineapple, and the silly farms were interesting, no? So that's something different too. When we were in Lukban, Quezon, we were exposed to a lot of the coconut products.
I see.
And how the coconut farms were being set.
Okay.
And then, of course, the new farming methods of the Costales farm
I see.
is also in that area. So I think the different places we've been, like for example, we were in Cavite, also in Tagaytay when we were in Cavite, and we were exposed to the coffee farms,
I see.
of Tagaytay, and then in Amadeo, and all of that. So
Okay.
so every place has its own specialty.
I see.
And the next one in 2020 will be in Jensan.
Oh, wow.
The entire team of Jensan is coming to promote,
The tuna industry.
Yeah, they will be in Jensan.
Okay.
So we're very excited about this.
Yeah, I was asking you about the participation of the ship deck because 5 years or so ago, they were training some fisher folks in Santa Rosa, raising gropers. And these fisher folks, they have an organization, they supply all the hotels in Mactan by these marginalized fisher folks. And their fish cages was devastated during the Typhoon Haiyan. And from the time on until now, they have not yet back to their normal operation. Instead, they just grow backyard farming, raising hogs and pigs. So I have all their accreditation from the SEC, from the BFAR, from the local government of the city of Lapu-Lapu, their bank account in Land Bank, everything. Their mandatory and regulatory requirements are with me. So I hope if I'll bring it to you, you can help also the organization revive the glory, helping the marginalized fisher folks in Santa Rosa.
Yeah, I think it will be a good idea to bring it tomorrow because we have great representations from the DA group, and then we have the OST. Maybe between the two alone, and DTI is very much actively involved now.
Okay.
Because we told them, look, it's not just farm tourism. People are now starting to process. They're now processing in bottles, in cans, in cartoons and other materials. I said it's about time that you promote the processed food, no? So they're very much involved in this. So I think it's important that you come.
Yeah. With my TV crew,
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
come
yeah,
to cover the activity tomorrow until the happenings in the mountain barangays,
Yes.
if my boss and manager permits me. Okay, some more question from yes sir, and then M. Espina.
Jason from Traveling in Tandem, my blog. Madam, Cebu is facing a water shortage. Let's be honest about it. How do you? I mean, how do we like? If I am very interested in farming, even in urban farming, how do I address that problem? And what is your take on the water shortage or crisis that Cebu is facing now?
Not
Thank
only
you.
Cebu, everywhere now.
But there's so many water in Laguna. How come? Right?
You'd be surprised. There's no rain. Huh? We've been having since October, the whole month. It's just impossible. It's almost like having summer. But you see, our country has always been blessed with, sun and rain, And so we never really, it was never like a second nature to us to save water. Now, in areas, for example, like in Spain, where they really have droughts for 6 months, that's why they have cisterns. Tayo wala eh. We built things without any provisions, no? So now, I noticed that in some areas, they have begun to build cisterns, no? Yung underground cistern. So, that's one that is important to be able to do that. The second one is actually, there are many systems in farming today where we find that you don't need so much water. You need a scheduled system of watering, and then you have what you call the multi-layered system. So people are now planting in multi-layers, especially in upland system, which is almost like in China, where you bring in the tall trees of coconut, in our cases maybe banana, and then as the water flows down, you have the pineapple on the second layer, and as the water flows down further, then you have the rice, and then as it flows down further, you have a catch basin where you pick up the water and you start putting all the water-based plants like lotus, kangkong, all of this. And then when you catch that, you have your fish and your ducks. So actually, if you do the multi-layered farming system, even if it's only 3 layers, you catch the water, you don't waste the water. So these are the things that are being taught now in farm tourism.
The model is the Ifugao rice terraces.
Yes,
Okay. Yeah, when I learned that Mina Gabor is our guest speaker, talking and we'll be discussing about farm tourism, I immediately contacted Engineer Tony Tumpar, Mactan Rock, the one who is supplying bulk water supply to MCWD. But incidentally, he is in Manila. Well, he was here last week and he was talking about water problem and water crisis in the city and in the country. And one of the issues that he tackled during his talk was about making a lot of gabion dams in our river system. He tried one in somewhere in Luzon, using irrigated water, converting it to a potable water, coming from the National Irrigation Administration project. So here in the upland barangays of the city of Cebu, he identified already a lot of water sources. Together with Congressman Raul Dilmar and Bibot Abilinosa, they're trying to build a lot of gabion dams, because there are a lot of water sources in the mountain barangays that doesn't need power but by gravity. Okay.
Yeah. Stop cutting trees. Plant more trees.
Plant more trees, but remember, we are encouraged to plant endemic trees, not exotic, not mahogany, not Gimilina. That is being propagated by German scientists assigned in WRC or University of San Carlos.
Yeah. Art,
Yes,
I must
Mamina.
tell you, I'm in the board of PhilExports, in charge of the tourism sector. And we have once a month a meeting with all the government agencies. So 3 months ago, I mentioned to DNR, I said, how can you propagate mahogany? It's a water sucker, It takes in all the water and at the expense of all the farms, And I said, it grows anywhere. Pag hinangin yung buto, it is flown all over the world. It is now getting into our forest and sucking all the water of our indigenous plants. So finally, they said they will look into it. And I'm telling you, Art, a month ago, they just came out with a paper. After going through all their scientists and everything, they have now finally accepted they have to do something about eliminating mahogany in our fields.
Yeah, because it was stated yesterday. I had a exchange of ideas with a blogger in Facebook, planting all exotic and endemic trees. No, well, I just reported that it was a World Bank initiated project in the 1960s up to 1972. So you have the Southern Cebu Reforestation Development Project covering all the municipalities in the south. You have the Northern Cebu Reforestation Development Project, which it did not push through. So it's only this SCRDP at that time under Joe Gapas. No? So they planted all mahogany, you have Jimilina, you have Palcata in the mountain barangays. So what happens to those exotic trees? Because of the high elevation, it became stunted. The growth was stunted because it was not properly watered or not in the place. I mean, Pangantuon, mahogany, and all other Ridnara. So that's the endemic trees that used to thrive in the highland places in Cebu.
Yeah. So.
Okay. M. Espina and then Boy Solo. M. Espina of Mabuhay Magazine.
Yes.
Thank you. Good morning, Madam.
Good morning.
Ma'am Roa. This is not a question, this is just an observation. While we are discussing this issue, a good friend of mine, a lawyer, was listening in, and he just went into farming, hogs and ducks and everything in the north. He was asking for kung how much daw yung participation fee. I told him it's 7,000. Sabi niya, ang mahal ko. Sabi ko, 7,000 para sa'yo? You're a Campanilla lawyer? Sabi, bakit? Sabi ko, you should go there along with your friends, with your hands and other yung kasama mo sa munisipyo nyo. Anyway, that is not a question. But second, Madam, tomorrow we can go there, but we will not eat. Can we observe? Can we observe there, or can we cover, or what?
We have a desk for the press,
I
and
see.
and tomorrow we, if you tell me, Art, more or less, if there will be 6 or 7 or 8 of you that will be there, we'll arrange for a desk for you.
Okay, thank you,
So,
Mamina.
You
So,
can,
what time would that start, Madam?
It starts at maybe be there at 9 o'clock to
Before
9:30. So yeah,
Okay.
so you can get settled and maybe also network, because you'll see a lot. It's unprecedented. We have a lot of local officials, mayors, and even vice governors, and coming in, which is really a big change from the first time we started. Now everybody is very conscious about having farm tourism in their areas. So we're very excited about this.
And another thing is that while we were discussing, some people from Argao Art and Dalaget also tuned in. They were asking kung we are reviving the farmer scientist program of Dr.
Davide.
Yeah.
Okay.
Para daw maybe some of them will be coming over tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't know if the municipal agriculturist kung padala ba ni Dr. Cesaldo,
Okay.
who is now the mayor,
Mayor
of
of Argao.
Anyway, thank you for
Yes,
the accommodation.
yes, thank you.
Thank you, Sir M. Yeah, Ma'am Mina, your institution is not accredited with the UN World Tourism Organization, or you are planning to have to be a member or to be an accredited organization under the UNWTO.
Yeah, ISST is actually a partnership between Florida State U and the ones who really started us were the Sustainable Development Department of FSU.
Okay.
And I really fell in love with the way the sustainable development was being done as a course.
I see.
So now, hopefully, by next year, we will have our the first Bachelor of Science in Sustainable Tourism Management approved by CHED.
I
They have
see.
already applied and they are very excited about it because it's a
Wow.
fresh new course and they love it, no? Because we will have as majors farm tourism, ecotourism, faith-based tourism,
I
so
see.
something very different.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if that is a special course, how many years? So actually, 4 years.
It's a 4-year course, but we have worked it in such a way that after 2 years, if you want to graduate as an associate, it's okay. It's okay. You can already
Okay.
work.
Okay.
And if you
Yeah.
want to continue with your major, you can still do it. And then later you can move to master and doctoral degrees.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. No?
Yeah.
It's something new in the country, being a tourist destination. Okay, so more questions from the members of the media. Okay, Sir Dan? Okay. So, hearing none, Ma'am Mina, your parting statement to our televiewers will be shown this evening at Channel 30 Sky Cable, 8 to 9 in the evening, and will be replayed Thursday and Saturday. The same time and the same channel, and you could also watch live stream, no, on your individual cell phone or mobile phone.
Okay.
And also in northern parts in Mindanao, channel 28 or Parasat.
Thank you very much. I'm hoping that tomorrow we will be able to get you to cover the opening ceremony. We're very excited because with President Arroyo, I think she's going to really speak on some very important matters. And also there's a message from Secretary Dar that will be mentioned. And then of course the Lakbay Bukid Award, you know, which has been elevated now to Asia-wide award, no? So we're looking forward to developing and creating that networking among the Philippines and other Asia countries that are involved in this business. Thank you very much for being actively involved this morning. For your questions are very interesting, and I hope that I was able to reply to that as best as I could. But the most important is that we are in Cebu, and if the Cebuanos are listening and they are in farm tourism, or they don't know what to do with their pension, maybe it's about time, because farm tourism is not about the size of the land. Farm tourism is what they can see in your land and experience. So if you have 20, 50 square meters, if you have something unique to offer to visitors, then you are farm tourism. So it's really something that is available to anybody. So thank you very much and see you tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Mina, our lovable former Secretary of the Department of Tourism, Ma'am Mina Gabor, and our friends in the media. Thank you very much. In behalf of our regular host, who is now in Manila, Sir Elias Baquero, and to our friends and guests, thank you, and see you next Tuesday.